Today we're talking about relationships again, and we're going to continue the conversation we had last week about Keke Palmer and her boyfriend Darius, kind of the back and forth that they had where Darius was imposing traditional values, but then there being kind of some inconsistency and it coming off kind of like in poor taste. So that's what we're going to discuss. We're going to talk about and unpack how people approach relationships. Some of the things that we see as yellow flags, as red flags that for many relationships. And we're going to hopefully by the end of this conversation come to a healthy place that we can share with you all. So we're going to get into it. But before we do, like this video, subscribe to the channel. And I'm going to start it off by just basically talking about from my own personal experience. And maybe some of you all can relate to this. I can honestly say growing up, I didn't necessarily have a desire to date. It wasn't like a desire that came from me. There were girls, grade school, you had your grade school crushes and things like that. But the more I really think about it, and I remember when I got to about my freshman year of college, one of the things I started to realize after going through relationships with girls and things like that, I didn't want a relationship personally. I started to realize I wasn't dating girls because I wanted to date girls. I wasn't talking to girls in that type of way because I wanted to talk to them. It was because you were supposed to. It's because everybody else was doing it. So what I found myself doing in my teen years and even earlier than that, which is crazy looking back, but all throughout elementary and high school and all that, it was like a knock against you if you weren't talking or didn't have a relationship or you weren't dating anybody or girls weren't checking for you, things like that. So it became an insecurity for me personally. So I was like, okay, well then I'm going to get a girlfriend. That's my goal. And I'm going to, shoot my shot and things like that. And a lot of these things weren't just because of my own, attraction, but it was like, you kind of got pressure. There was a lot of peer pressure with it. And as a result of that, what I feel like developed for me is it developed this sense of vanity where you were specifically getting into relationships with women because you're supposed to. You were pursuing things like sex, pursuing things that, you could convince you. I probably convinced myself that these were things that I really wanted or wanted at a very, I guess, like high pressure way where I had to have this. I had to have a girlfriend. I had to do all these different things that my friends were doing. But it wasn't something that I genuinely wanted for myself. And I think just a lot of things that we've talked about on this channel and that I've seen with people in conversation with them is a lot of people have vain approaches in their relationships. And you look back and you really go, and what I personally experienced, and I'm going to open it up to you, is I didn't even like these girls like that. I didn't even like these girls on a friendly or friendship level. I couldn't stand them by the time the relationship ended. And that was the trend I kept seeing. I like them because of how they look. Other people think they look good. They look good next to me. Then you get to know them. And I'm like, ugh, the more I get to know you, I just don't like you like that. And I'm not attracted to you. I'm forcing it. And I'm insecure about ending the relationship because then I'm losing this person that looks good next to me. I'm losing my status. Like when I wasn't in any relationship or anything like that, felt like it was impossible to get a girl to like me. The moment I got into one relationship, now all of a sudden I'm getting it's like girls out of nowhere now wanted to get to know me that didn't care at all.
Oh yeah.
So it was very strange. So I want to open up to you. What do you think about this double-mindedness of a lot of relationships?
No, I think that's huge. And I would have to say I agree because from the woman's perspective, like starting off, like you said, high school or whatever is when it becomes a big deal. And, like you said, you may even, because they want to dress alike at school, walking down the hallway, he carrying her books, stuff like that. Again, this is so that you look good for other people in between classes. Knowing you got to hurry up and get to class within 5 minutes. And if you were in big high school, that's not a lot of time. But it's just like, it's all for show. Okay, he may even be a good person. You may not even like him like that. He get on your nerves. But still people be like, oh, y'all cute. I see y'all, things like that. And all the fashion we had. But no, I would have to definitely agree. It's like are you even wanting this? Some questions that, you can ask yourself. Why are you in this relationship with this person? Why this person? And a lot of times, yeah, people look good. You're talking about juniors and seniors who got cars and they can drive cars on the campus. They got high school. Like a lot of girls would look at their car. They be like, but he got a nice car. And so, he not riding the bus and stuff. Again, these things do not matter when it comes to having a solid relationship and things like that. And so later on, right, when you're not in his car and you not looking at his clothes or his new haircut for me, because it was the haircut for me, like, ooh, come on with the part two. But anyways, when you're not looking at that, you realize, okay, this person is annoying. They get on my nerves. You know what I'm saying? You might have found out that they talking to somebody else, things like that. But you know that they was first talking to you when they could have been talking to somebody else. But we don't think about that part, and we think that they're just going to stop those habits. So, no, I would have to say definitely, like, it's huge on just the why people are getting together today. And we talking about back in high school, still, it's just like, it's not on like a solid foundation. No real good reasons that can help the relationship last.
Yeah. Yeah, being single wasn't it, I feel like. And I feel like that having a girlfriend that was garbage as far as like how she treats or acts, but she looked good, was better than being single in a lot of people's cases. But that's just not a healthy dynamic, I think, for all of us. But tying it into how we approach relationships, when you are allowing things that aren't true values to be in place for how you pursue women or how you pursue or how you get pursued as a woman and things like that, I think you're in very bad territory. I think you're in trouble. You're going to find yourself, and this is why I think a lot of girls find themselves with these bad guys and things like that, because while it may not be something always intentionally, but like just the excitement that they may get or just the it factor that a lot of those type of guys have is like, man, like it's exciting. It's interesting. It does something to women.
That's why those good guys be finishing last, too.
Yeah, that's why the good guys finish last.
Because they're not doing all the things to impress the women, right?
Yeah.
But they actually do have the good qualities, things like give or take.
I generally figure that like women, until like, I don't know how far out this goes, but women don't like boring guys. Women don't like boring guys. It's just that simple. Whereas I think a guy would like a boring woman if she looks great. Like if she's incredible looking, they probably want the introverted, boring to herself type of girl just off the looks alone.
I don't know.
Nah, I think so.
When you say boring, right? I just feel like typically, that high school, college, blah, blah, you're going to get that question. What do you like to do for fun? And that boring, it don't really work. When they find out that you're not trying to do the things that they trying to do, like they start talking to somebody else.
I look at that from a guy perspective. I think it's just a challenge. It's like, okay, I can show her some stuff she don't know about. So
okay,
I think a lot of men are looking at it from that standpoint. But that's a sidebar. Maybe another video in the future. But I think all relationships have to start from values. Doesn't mean that you can't be cordial with people that don't share the same values as you. And that's what I think we miss, especially young people when they date, is when you're 14, 15, 16, when you're in your teens, your values are, oh, she cute, she thick, or oh, she light skinned for some of my guys affected by colorism. But like, you thinking about these different things, and girls, he got nice teeth, nice smile, or dimples, all that. It's all surface level vain things. Or oh yeah, he cute. Yeah, other girls would be jealous if they see me with him. So it's like nice it's all vanity, and it's all based on. Some of it is like, yeah, that's attractive, of course, but most of it is just not value based. When we talk about values, we're not talking about just looks. Sure, that's something that you can value, but when we're talking about values in terms of sustainable living, looks are so far down the list. I mean, how you look isn't really gonna, like, how a guy looks isn't what pays the bills. How, all these different things don't really matter to the degree that you're going to have a sustainable relationship, because looks fade away. Some quicker than others, but these things are very temporary. And if you allow those to be the foundation of any relationship, any friendship, then you're in trouble. So what I always have called back on, and what was like a light bulb moment for me was, okay, what is a friend? And why do people become friends? Because they have similar things in common, similar interests. Why would I get with no friends that I've had, like real friends, how they looked was the reason why we weren't friends or were friends. Like, that never was the case. Oh, this dude ugly, so we're not gonna be cool as kids. No, that never was a thing. Like, no, if anything, that's sus. So it's like, what? How a person looks should not determine whether or not they could be your friend, and never has in any other context. But for whatever reason, in relationships and dating, how they look is more important than are they friendly, or are they somebody you would be friends with. A lot of times these girls, if they weren't good looking, you would have never even given them a time of day if you knew their personality or their flaws, or if they were toxic, or all these different things. So when I came to the realization that put aside, like, looks matter, but put that to the side and think about how do you actually become friends with a person? Well, you got to share things in common. You got to get along with them. You got to have healthy communication. You got to be able to see yourself in the room with them alone talking, and just being able to hold a conversation. If you both can't enjoy talking to each other, then it's like, well, it don't matter how they look. You're going to be, and so going back to the bored point, it's like, yeah, you're going to be bored. You're not going to enjoy yourself because that person you don't even really want to be around. And I started experiencing that personally in relationships where I didn't want to be around the people, didn't want to interact really with the people. But man, they sure do look good. Like, man. But what do you have anything else you want to add to that point?
No, I just say ditto, peer pressure, shallow reasons, all of that. It's not what makes you stay. It's not what makes you want to stay and have stability. And, bringing it back to like the Keke Palmer example is just, we see now, it seems like with Darius, it's like, okay, he's trying to say, these are my values, these are my traditions and things like that. And it's like, well, was she aware of that beforehand? These are just questions. So he could have, or because if she was, then would she have worn that and done all that with Usher or whatever at the concert? Or did she know but didn't care, didn't think it would be a big deal? Whatever. But that's hindsight. You know what I'm saying? They've been together. They have a child now, whatever. And then he decided to post it instead of just talk about it with her. So that's why having those shared values and those things is really important to you and the person you're with is so important to establish at the beginning. A lot of times those conversations come when you're just being friends and just getting to know each other. So, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I do think in general what she did was wrong for someone that's in a serious committed relationship. But what he made it about was what she was wearing versus what she was wearing in the context of with Usher and all of that. If he had just said all of that together, I think more people would have been on his side, because that would have, I think she objectively was wrong. But I think if you just are pointing out and calling out what she was wearing, and you're with this person and they're out having fun on their birthday and you're not with them, it opened you up to be, for what your message was, to be lost. And that was the sad part about it.
And her new status as a mom.
Exactly.
So it makes it seem like if she didn't have a baby, but they were still together in a committed relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, then he would have been okay with the outfit.
Yeah, it was an incoherent logic based on a bunch of factors, which is why I say this is why we're having this conversation again, because it's about values at the end of the day, and it's about how you pursue a woman based on those values. And if she meets the criteria for those values, how you move forward. You move forward in marriage. You don't waste time on those type of things. Yeah, you scoop her up like in the jiffy if she meets those the criteria. But I'm guessing that their view of like what that looks like in marriage and when the timeline on it. I mean, it's clear that stuff like this coming out in public, that they probably aren't ready to be married, unfortunately. And that's why it's important that we look at our values and what we want in a woman, or for women, what you want in a man, and then let the decision process happen from there. But those are our thoughts on this. We've heard so much conversation on this Keke and Darius relationship stuff, but we want to know what you all think about dating, a lot of modern dating. Leave a comment and let us know your thoughts. But before you head out, like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future videos.